Okay.
Hey guys, if you're into prepping and long-term food preservation, we got a video for you. Today we're gonna take this egg and a bunch more like it and turn it into this egg powder that's shelf stable for 10 to 15 years. We're gonna go step by step through the process, and we're even gonna cook some at the end, so stay tuned. Hey guys, we are back with another video on food preservation. So we have been asked to shoot a video on how we dehydrate our eggs and put them up for long-term storage. So we're gonna head out to the kitchen with my wife and we'll get started on that. Hey, so we're out here in the kitchen and we are getting ready to dehydrate the eggs. This is my wife, Charity, and she is gonna help with this. So I'm gonna be asking her questions so she can step us through the process. So what's the first thing we're gonna do?
We're gonna crack the eggs in the bowl, and the reason why I do that is if any shell gets in there, it's easier to get out of the bowl than in the blender.
Okay, that makes sense. So how many eggs do you do at a time?
A dozen.
Okay, so 1 dozen.
And I do a total of 5 dozen because that will fill up 2 mason jars.
Okay. 5 dozen fills up the jar?
2.5 dozen fills up a jar.
2.5 dozen, okay.
So I do 5 to fill up 2 at a
That's a
time.
lot of eggs you need in the bowl. Okay, so then they go to the blender.
Yes. And then we're gonna blend these for 5 to 7 seconds only.
Okay.
And
So why do we do that for 5 to 7 seconds?
Because you don't want a bunch of bubbles and foam building up on the top, and it only takes that long to blend them.
Okay, so we got the eggs all blended and ready to go into the dehydrator. So we thought we'd talk about this for a minute. So this is our dehydrator, and these are the silicone trays we use. Nothing real fancy. You can get these on Amazon. We'll actually put a link in the description, and we'll get ready to pour these out, and you can see how this is done. All right, so we're ready to pour our blended eggs in, but we were talking about the foam on top. So she was saying that the foam will pretty well pour out, so it's not a big deal to have a little bit of foam in the blender.
There's always foam on the top after
Okay.
you do it. So I always start from the top one and work my way down to the bottom, so that way if I spill it, it usually goes on the next tray. I really watch the edge. I feel mine pretty full compared to most people, and so it takes me about 12 hours to get the majority of them dry.
Okay.
And then I just kind of shake out the foam the best I can, and then you just go make more. Now this one, I leave part way out so I know what tray I'm on.
Okay. So let's go blend up some more eggs. So we just about got the last 2 poured out, and we'll be ready to start the dehydrator. Okay, so what are we gonna set the dehydrator at?
145.
So 145 for how long?
12 hours.
Okay. And it'll be done in 12 hours?
Well, depending on how thick it is, sometimes the corners will be still a little damp, and I'll have to do an extra 5 hours on just that part after I get all the part that is completely dried in a bowl.
Okay. All right, so we got the dehydrator going, and we set it at
45 degrees.
145 degrees, and we're gonna dehydrate it for 12 hours. And most of it should be done at the end of 12 hours. There might be a little bit of tacked up corner, maybe some of it a little bit damp, and we'll restart it and finish it out. But that's pretty well all there is to the drying process. So now we'll get into the next step. All right, so we've moved from the silicone trays over here, but we had some pre-done, so we could show you this part. This is what it looks like after it comes out of the dehydrator off the silicone trays. It's completely dried into thin layer, and it's all broken into, we broke it into pieces to get ready to go into the food processor. So she's put some into the food processor, and we're gonna get ready to blend it up. Okay, so that's pretty well it. Kind of looks like crushed up corn flakes. So we'll do all of it like that, and then we're gonna reprocess it and grind it finer. So we got it all ground into a crumble and everything through the food processor. Now we have to grind it down into a fine powder. So we use a KitchenAid espresso bean grinder. So we'll show you that process and what it looks like.
So the reason why I use this is because a lot of people that I've watched, they use a blender, but the blender doesn't make powder as well, and then there's a lot of substance that gets stuck underneath the blades at the bottom of the blender that you can't get out, and the heat makes it more moist, and so then you're putting moisture back into your egg powder that's supposed to be, so then you got to put the egg powder back into the dehydrator. So the blenders, in my opinion, did not work as well as this, and I've been using the espresso bean grinder for quite a few years now, and I like it a lot better. So
okay, let's see what it looks like.
okay, so we're going to put it into a fine strainer. And there's some that sticks on the bottom. I take my knife and just loosen it up, dump it in there, and then I always leave this off of here. This eventually gets really hot. This needs time to cool in between your processes. And then a lot of times I just shake it, and it makes super, super fine flour. So when I see it stop going through this, that means the pieces are too big, and I'll put it over here in this bowl. I don't spend a lot of time because you end up spending a lot longer doing this process. So then I'll start my next one. So this process takes me about an hour to an hour and a half to do.
So we've about made it through the first cycle, and we got a real fine powder in this metal bowl, and all of the excess stuff is going to have to be ran back through so we can get it fine, because it has to be a fine powder. So we're going to start the process again. I think we got about a 60-40 mix, or maybe closer to a 50-50 mix of stuff we got to resurface or recycle through there. So we'll get to recycling this. It's the same process over again. So put it into the coffee bean grinder, grind it, and then sift it out, and the heavier stuff goes back into the bowl. This will take 2 or 3 times.
All right, so now the machine is getting pretty hot to the touch, which means this is getting hot to the touch, and which means that these pores are going to start getting clogged, which I use my knife, and I'll show you what I do to help get it through the pores. So I'll shake it first until I don't see much coming out. There is some clogging, and so I start using vibration to clear out. I go in circular motions, and you work that a little bit, and that gets more coming out. So the vibration is what helps get it through all the finer stuff.
All right, so we've blended all of our egg into powder. We've gone through it about 3 times, and this is the last little bit that wouldn't grind fine. So we're gonna take this and just mix it in. All right, so after we're all done with that, we're gonna get ready to put it in our jar. So we moved over here to the other counter, and we are gonna start taking our egg powder and putting it in our jar. We're just about finished with the process. So how do you usually split it up for the jars?
There's markings on the jar. There's 3 cups. I fill it up to that line, and then I start on the next one, and I just kind of even it out between the 2, because I know I did 5 dozen eggs, so I try to make it as even as possible.
Okay. So how does your oxygen absorber work?
You just stick it in.
You have to break the pack open, right?
Yeah, we'll cut it open, and then we got to put one in. Actually, all of these jars need one.
Okay.
And so I wait, because there's 10 packs, and once they've been exposed to oxygen, I don't want to waste them because you can't use them.
Okay.
if you ran out of jars, it's just you gotta throw the leftovers away.
Let's see. And so for all of this stuff, we'll put a link to the jar funnel and the oxygen absorbers and a lot of this stuff in the link, so you guys will be able to find it real easy. We'll just have a link to Amazon, and we do get a small percentage, so it's real small though. So you're paying the same price either way. Most dehydrators will work as long as your silicone trays will fit in. Okay. And how many dozen eggs was that?
5 dozen eggs.
So that was 5 dozen split between 2 jars. Okay, and you just drop one in?
Put it in. And then you tie this or screw this on as tight as you can.
Okay.
And make sure you date. I date the month and the year. So you have 15 to 30 minutes to get these oxygen absorbers sealed off.
Okay, and you can see that's all it is, just a little packet.
Oh, I got one left, yep. There's 10 in a pack, we had 9 jars.
Okay. All right, so that's the process. And you can see we got our oxygen absorber in there. It's ready to go. And this will last 10 to 15 years on the shelf. So that is a good way to put high protein food away for your family. We'll go ahead and open up one of these jars. Maybe we'll open up an older jar and we will cook some on the stove so you guys can see that.
Now the one thing, you do not want to store that in light. It needs to be in a black bin in the dark. So one way to tell if they're going old is if they start discoloring and starting to like literally clump up. So you'll know that something didn't go right. Never
eat the dehydrated eggs if they start to decolor, if they start to get dark or look black or any mold growing in them. But these last pretty well like this. So you do have to soak them in water. So it's 1 heaping tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of water, and you soak them for about 5 to 20 minutes, and then you can cook it. So we're gonna go ahead and cook some eggs up for you so you can see the process. So we're gonna cook up a couple eggs. 1 heaping tablespoon is about the equivalent of an egg. So we'll do 2, and then we add 2 tablespoons of water per egg. So this is 4
tablespoons.
Right, that we
or a
pre-measured.
cup of water.
Okay, that we pre-measured. And now we're gonna soak this. So we'll mix it up and we'll let it soak for about, they
10
say,
minutes?
yeah, they say 5 to 20 minutes. So we can let it soak for 10 minutes or so. So our eggs have been soaking for at least 5 minutes. And we got the skillet hot. We're gonna get ready to start cooking them. Throw a little butter in there. So you can see the consistency of what it looks like when it comes back after it's been soaking for a little while.
It looks a little grainy, but it's very fine.
Okay, let's see how it cooks up. Okay. A little bit of salt. Kind of just leaving that orange and it's going back to the yellow. Look at that. So it looks just like regular scrambled eggs. We're gonna try this out. All right, here we go. Our dehydrated scrambled eggs. That's good. I can't even hardly tell. I mean, If it was the end of the world and I got to eat like this, that'd be all right.
How's the texture?
Almost just like they were never dehydrated. It's not. There's a hint of something different, but you can't hardly tell. That's good. All right. Well, that's the process from start to finish. So if you want to put away eggs in your survival food and you want to be able to store them for long term, that's the way to do it. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm going to finish these eggs. Thanks for watching. If this is the kind of thinking that speaks to you, hit subscribe. I'll be covering gear, prepping systems, homestead tactics, and off-grid survival. Don't get caught off guard. Let's get ready together.